Praise the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Peace to everybody that's here in the name of Jesus. Welcome everybody out to Friday night. Peace to everybody that's on the phone line and also on the internet. And we're going to get into another lesson. As always, we read it from the scripture. One thing about when you first get into the scripture, get some real understanding, not what people think they know about the Bible, but get some real understanding of the Bible. You find out that everything that the world believes is contrary to what's in the Bible. And that kind of has a negative effect on a lot of people. What I mean by that is people can be kind of timid because they know, they believe it in the Bible, they can see it in the Bible, they know don't nobody else agree with it, so that makes people kind of feel kind of timid and a little shy about, what they believe in. That's why it's a scripture in the Bible that say if you deny Jesus before men, he going to deny you before the Father and before the angels, because he know that you up against it when you believe the word. He know you going to be running afoul to the rest of the world as a whole. He know that, but he wants you to do that anyway, and he telling you that he, when you get some understanding, you realize you dealing with the real God. But we still living in a world, so we have to remind ourselves that the one that we serving is the one that got all the power. And that takes some constant reminding, because the surrounding things that's around us are contrary to God and coming at us, and we can tend to forget that we got the one with all the power. So this is just something that kind of remind us of that, and also remind us that what this whole battle is about, it's about us overcoming, it's about us conquering not just ourselves and the wickedness that we have been partaking in, but the world as a whole. So that's the title, More Than Conquerors. And that's directly from a scripture. We're going to read it in Romans 8th chapter. That's going to be the first scripture. More than conquerors. Because what we got to realize, we are striving to be just like God, to be God, to be a part of the God family, to be a fellow heir, like the Bible tell us, with Christ. We really striving for that. And that's not going to be something that's going to be, that's not a light endeavor, so to speak. So it stands to reason we should understand that we're going to have our hands full trying to attain this great goal, and that is to be like God. But so if that's the case, then we should expect to have to overcome things. We should expect to conquer things. And God telling you you're going to be able to conquer it, but we got to remember that we're dealing with the one that got all the power. If you forget that and you face with all kind of opposition, you tend to melt in the face of opposition in this world if you forget you got the one with all the power. And you got the one that's allowing you, that's going to allow you to conquer. It's when you get some understanding of the word the way it is, you should come to the realization that long as you serve God, you can't lose. No matter what happens, you can't lose. Even if you die, that's amazing. Even if you die, you can't lose, because he got that covered. So that's why you should want to serve this God. All you got to do is please him, and you cannot lose. Don't matter what the circumstances is, don't matter what the battle is, you can't lose. Even if it look like you lose, you still can't lose. Hey, that's the God I want to serve. So that's what the title again, More Than Conquerors. More Than Conquerors. And it's just going to remind us that we got to stay committed, period. I seen, it's a movie one time, it's a common, I don't know, maybe it was Siege or Under Siege with Denzel Washington, and the other guy used to played in all them Die Hard movies. But anyway, some terrorism was going on. But the bottom line here is this woman told, it was a battle between the Army and the FBI, and the woman told him, which was true, she said, remember, in the end, the most committed is going to win. The most committed is going to win. And that's the way you got to look at things when it comes to the word of God. That's why even when the circumstances don't even look right, like we could, like it's going to work out, all you got to do is stay the course. Romans 8, we're going to pick it up at verse 37. Romans 8 and verse 37. Go ahead.
Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us.
See, this is what Paul was saying right here. He said, nay, in all these things. Now, that means he was naming some things, and we're going to back up and read a little bit of it. In all these things, we are more than conquerors. See, that's got to be something else. Now, you ain't just a conqueror. He said, more than a conqueror. We are more than conquerors through him that loved us. But that is letting us know we do got a battle, that we are up against something. And that's what the average person that think they believe in Jesus don't know. They think they're supposed to have it made. Even people in here that have been in the Word a while, they could tend to faint in the face of some trouble, not realizing that that's what you should be expecting, and you should be looking forward to that so you can conquer it. That's what he's talking about here. Not everything going the way you think it should go in the first place. You got too many examples in the Bible that it don't happen that way. So he's talking about, he said, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Now, and that means under any circumstances. That's why you can't look at things for face value. So back up to verse 28. Back up to verse 28, and he's going to let us know something about that. Go ahead.
We know that all things work together for good to them that love God.
Mm-hmm.
To them who are called according to his purpose.
See, now if you serving God and you love God, no matter what happened, it's going to work together for good. That's what he's letting you know. Even if it look bad. Like the old saying is true, and I've seen that throughout my life. People have said, well, that was a blessing in disguise. That means at first it didn't look like no blessing. It looked like you said, oh, that's the worst thing could have happened. But when it turned out, when it was all over, you say, I'm so glad that happened that way. But you couldn't see it at first. But when you got some spiritual eyes, you start to look for that all the time. That's why I don't even, things that used to worry me, I'd be upset about it. I'd be like, good, bring it on. Let's see how God gonna deal with this. So he said, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them that are called according to his purpose. Verse 29.
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
See, that's what we striving to be, conformed to the image of his son. All we got to do is stay the course. He's already laid the path out there. You can't lose. All you got to do is stay with serving God until the end. He already then laid it out where you predestined if you continue. You ain't predestined to continue once you find out. Just like he told his disciples, he said, y'all gonna sit on those who have followed me in the regeneration, gonna sit on 12 thrones, judging 12 tribes. Well, Judas was one of them 12, but Judas didn't continue, did he? So he wasn't one of them 12 he was talking about. See, it's always contingent on your actions still. But if your actions endure, if you overcome, if you live up to being more than a conqueror, then you predestined to be just like Jesus. He said predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many. Firstborn from what? From the dead and into God's family. We trying to be just like God. That's what Jesus is. That's why he's sitting on the right hand. Verse 30.
Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called.
Mm-hmm.
And whom he called, them he also justified.
Uh-huh.
And whom he justified, them he also glorified.
See, he tells you he got the table already set. 31.
What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
See, that's the attitude you learn to have when you get some understanding. See, he's saying this because he's experienced a lot of opposition. He's experienced people being against him. You trying to serve God and people still against you. You would think that wouldn't be the case, but that's always the case. So he's experienced all of that. But he understands that none of that don't matter if we serve God. He said, what should we say then? If God be for us, who can be against us? Somebody might be against you, but it ain't going to amount to nothing, is what he's telling you. Who can be against us? It ain't going to. Nobody can compare with God, in other words. It ain't even a challenge. They won't even get a bullet off in the fight. So you don't have to worry about it when you have an opposition. And then if God even lets somebody win something over you, it's just a temporary victory for them anyway, because we're going to win in the end. So that's what he's talking about. So he said in verse 31, what shall we say then? What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Go ahead, verse 32.
He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
So he said the one that didn't spare his own son, Jesus had to go through all that for us. So if Jesus went through all that for us, you know God is on our side. Go ahead.
Who is he that condemneth?
Mm-hmm.
It is Christ that died, yea, rather, that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of God, who also maketh intercession for us.
Go ahead.
Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation
See,
or
that
distress?
means tribulation. That means you got some, right? But he said none of that ain't going to hinder you. See, this is what he means, and that's what the title is, More Than Conquerors. You're going to deal with some stuff. Matter of fact, you should be prepared to deal with some stuff when you're serving God. Look forward to it. That's why one place he even say in James, he said you should joy. You start to joy in tribulations. Because you know you can see God work on your behalf in those instances. So he said, who is he that condemneth? It is Christ that died and rather is risen again, who is even at the right hand of God, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? See, as long as you keep in mind that you got the one with all power on your side, you can't lose. He said, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulate. That means you're going to have some tribulation, but that ain't going to make a dent in nothing. Shall tribulation, what else? Or what?
Or distress.
Or distress, go ahead.
Or persecution.
Or persecution, go ahead.
Or famine.
Or famine. You might even be famished sometime. Go ahead.
Or nakedness.
Or nakedness. He said none of that can't stop what God is doing. Go ahead.
Or peril.
Or peril. You in all kind of trouble. Go ahead.
Or sword.
Or sword. That means it might even take your life or somebody's life around you. It don't mean nothing when you got a God that's going to easily wake you up. So you don't even have to worry about that. That's what I mean. You can't lose. 36.
As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long.
See, eventually, we be talking about this. I know some people, it's kind of go in one ear and out the other, that eventually with the stuff we preaching out the Bible, some of us going to get killed for the word of God. It's just a matter of time. So don't be shocked when right now you say, oh, yeah, you can't see nothing like that. You know, it seems way far, but before you know it start happening, and people be faint. Whew, I can't believe that happened. Why did that? Look, we've been telling you a long time that's going to happen, right? It was happening with them, right? That's what he said. As it is written, for thy sake we are killed. You think he playing? No, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. But when you really know that you're serving a real God, you ain't even worried about death. You get to that point. Because it's not going to change nothing. You just making me get to be with God that much sooner because I ain't got to worry about it until he wake me up. For thy sake we are killed all the day long. What else?
We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter.
Now he get to the title of the lesson tonight. What?
Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us.
See, we are more than conquerors. So we got some stuff to conquer, but it ain't nothing. It's like a piece of cake when you got God on your side. More than conquerors. Go ahead, 38.
For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come.
He said, I'm persuaded that none of that, death, not even death nor life, angels or principalities, powers, nor things present, it can't nothing stop what God is doing. And all we got to do is stay the course with God. Keep serving God. Not death or life, angels, principality, powers, things present, things to come. What else? 39.
Nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus, our Lord.
See, you can't even lose. That's something else when you serve a God that even death ain't no problem for it. See, death is a big problem for us. But if you serve God, you don't even have to worry about death. That's why he's going to allow people to even stand up and be martyrs, give their life up for the word, because it ain't nothing. He's going to wake them up just like he woke Jesus. That's why Jesus went through what he went through, because he knew he had a prize awaiting him. Soon as he woke up, he knew he had a prize. So he let him go through that. Even though he had the power to stop it, he went on through with it and let them misuse him and kill him, nail him to a tree, because he knew that wasn't going to change nothing. That's why the Bible says in Hebrews, but we have problems with some of the small things that we have to conquer in life right now. That's why none of that ain't happening yet. We ain't ready for it. We'll be faint like, it'll be like that show used to come on, the Corner. What's the guy named The Corner used to come on? Quincy, yeah. And he getting ready to train some people and show them a dead body. They pull that sheet back, then people start falling out. Well, that's how people in here be. If some real drama came. See, but we should be knowing we got to get prepared for that. We're getting prepared. That's why the Bible said in Hebrews, you have not yet resisted unto blood. See, we ain't got to that point yet. We resisting on some minor levels right now. But it's coming, so we got to gird up and remember that we more than conquerors, no matter what it is. Philippians 4. Philippians 4. See, people quote these verses and things like this, but it's for their own means, and they trying to get some money or get a house. They don't understand what it's really about. Because they don't understand that more important than all of that is serving God so you can be in his kingdom and become God. That's what we're striving to become, God. Just like Jesus did. Jesus came out the grave. He said he got all power. Just like the Father got. He said he got it. And we trying to be on that level. Above the angels. That's why the Bible said we're going to judge angels. That's amazing. Philippians 4 and verse 13. Go ahead.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
See, people quote stuff like that, but they really don't mean it. They talking they own little foolishness they can do. Because they ain't talking about serving God and then doing nothing. In doing and overcoming, keeping God's commandments. They done threw the commandments out there, and that's amazing. Ask them that one time. You get some people trying to get real highly spiritual. Oh, I can do all things through Christ Jesus. Say, why don't you stop eating pork then? You can't do it. Well, then start clearing their throat. Somehow you can't do that one, huh? You can't, that's the one thing they can't never do when it comes to keeping God's commandments. They will tell you that. They quote this verse, I can do all things through Christ, and then the next breath they say, you can't keep that law. Wait a minute. You just said you can do all things. And believe it or not, when it comes to the law, you can do a lot more than you think you can do. That's always the case. In any endeavor, you'll be surprised. When the chips get down, you'll be surprised what you can do. You'll do stuff you didn't think you could do. But they quote it for their own little, it's just emotionalism. It's just a lot of talk. But he did say, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Let's look at some of the things he's talking about doing. Again, it's about overcoming, being more than a conqueror. Back up to 13. That's why you got to read around. When they use one verse, you got to read around it to really get understanding of it. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Yeah, verse 9.
Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
See, first you got to learn something. You got to start doing something. But go ahead.
But I rejoice in the Lord greatly, that now at the last your care of me hath flourished again, wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. See, now Paul is grateful to them because they helping him out, because Paul's going through a lot of stuff, preaching the word. Anytime you preach the word and you start reaching more and more and a whole lot of people, that's the more trouble you're going to find yourself in. The more trouble you're going to find. So Paul was in a whole lot of trouble, but he said he's glad that they care of him flourished again, now that they got an opportunity. He's talking about looking out for him, helping him out in bad situations. But go ahead, verse 11. He's going to break it down for us. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content.
See, he said, look, I don't want nothing. I'm glad, really for your sake, I'm glad you trying to help me out because that's going to be beneficial to you because the Lord going to look at your works and see that you really believe. Because sometimes you can have somebody preaching the word like Jesus. Hey, Jesus could have needed some help from some people, but they were scared to deal with Jesus openly. That's why Nicodemus in John the 3rd chapter, it's no accident that he went to see Jesus at nighttime. You know why he went to see Jesus at nighttime? Because he didn't want to be seen with Jesus. Jesus wasn't liked. Jesus was an outsider to the religious community. Matter of fact, they told people, they said, if y'all believe on that dude, we're going to put you out the church. That show you Jesus wasn't the Christ that all the so-called Christians love like they say nowadays. See, that's why they done made up a different one that go for anything who they say they love. But it ain't that one that was contrary to the whole religious establishment. It's not the Christ of the Bible. So that's why Paul is saying, you know, he glad that they care of him as florists. And then he pointed out at verse 11, not that I speak in respect of one. He said, it's not because I'm greedy or need something or want something. I might be in need, but even if you didn't give me nothing, I was going to be okay. Because he understands. He understands that he can overcome whatever situation he's in. See, we got all these churches that think it's supposed to be always good situations. It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be prosperous and prosperity. You're supposed to have this and be in health, and that's all good. Look, all that is fine and good, but it's not always that way, is it? Some trouble gonna come, right? Then what you gonna do? That's what Job understood. Job's wife, she kind of fainted, but who can blame her? Really, all the stuff that they went through. They went through all kind of stuff, lost everything, all the kids, all the money. Now Job sitting up there sick. She finally buckled under all that pressure. But Job understood. Job said, look, we took the good that God gave us. Now we can't take the bad. See, that's what Paul understood. You got to take it all, and you got to be more than a conqueror. So he said, read verse 11 again.
Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
Whatever state he is, to be content with, be it good or bad. Verse 12.
I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound.
See, he ain't just said, I know how to be on top. That's abound. He ain't just said, I supposed to be on top. God, because I believe in God, I'm supposed to be on the top all the time. Not in this world. You're going to be on the top in the kingdom. That's what we're striving for. But not in this world. You fair game in this world. You're in a wicked world. So that's why he said, I know both. I know how to be abased. You know what abased means, though? On the bottom. Put low. That's what abased means. He said, I know how to deal with that. And how to abound. What else?
Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
He said, I can deal with either side of it. He understood that it wasn't going to always go like he might want it to go. He said, that's okay, I deal with it because I'm striving for a great prize. That's what I'm trying to get. So this is mediocre. What I'm going through now, he said, I'm instructed to be full and hungry, both to abound and suffer need. Go ahead.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
Now you get to that when he said, I could do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. But do all things what? Take whatever come his way. Good, be it good or bad. Not just some good stuff. Not just overcoming and being on top all the time. Yeah, that ain't hard to do, is it? Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, ye have well done, that ye did communicate with my affliction.
He said, nevertheless, you did good that you... Paul was going through some affliction, right? You did good that you communicated with my affliction. Proverbs 24. Proverbs 24. So Paul knew how to deal with stuff. Paul knew how to handle some trouble. He knew how to handle some affliction, some persecution, distress, and all of that stuff. Proverbs 24. And that's what we got to make sure. Remembering that we are here to conquer this stuff anyway. So we should be looking for some things that need conquering. Proverbs 24, One verse, 10. Proverbs 24. We're going to read one verse, verse 10. Okay, go ahead.
If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small.
See, now this is one verse, but it says a lot, right? He said if you faint in the day, that means you going to have some adversity. How you going to handle this is what's going to be the final analysis, though. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. That means you didn't have no strength in the first place. If you faint in the day of adversity. See, and that's what Paul was telling us, girding us up, reminding us that we are to be more than conquerors, right? Therefore, you won't faint in adversity. Go to Proverbs 17. Back up a few chapters. See, you might be able to handle some adversity. You might be dealing with some adversity, but somebody around you, a good friend of yours, might say, oh, that's too much. I can't deal with that. I ain't hanging with you no more. You in too much trouble. Then they fainted. 17 and 17. But somebody that know they supposed to be more than a conqueror as well, what are they like? 17 and 17. Go ahead.
A friend loveth at all times.
See, he said, a friend loveth at all times. Good and bad, isn't it? Ain't going to just be the good times. A friend loveth at all times. And what else?
And a brother is born for adversity.
And a brother is born for adversity. See, a real brother, hey, he was born to deal with some adversity with you. It ain't going to be no problem. He ain't going to disappear. Like Paul talked about in someplace in Timothy, he said when he got jammed up one time, everybody left. Pew! They was out of there. He said, I hope God don't hold that to y'all charge, because y'all left me hanging in a bag. So that show you they wasn't prepared for it. See, Jesus knew it was going to happen to him. He told the disciples it was going to happen to him, but that was part of prophecy. He told them, he said, they going to smite the shepherd and the sheep going to be scattered. All y'all going to leave. And Peter started talking bold. I ain't going to leave you. I'm ready to die with you. I go to jail with you. I die with you. And 5 minutes later, I don't know that dude. Who was that? They kept questioning. He started cursing them out. I told you I don't know him. Got adamant about it. He fainted, didn't he? 2 Corinthians 12. 2 Corinthians 12. Second Corinthians 12. See, this go to show you, though, you got to be able to deal with some stuff. You got too much of this so-called Christian doctrine that got people believing everything's supposed to work, and it ain't working anyway. They all jacked up, got high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, everything, and tell me, I ain't going to claim it. It don't matter. It's claiming you. But they trying to act, act real spiritual. Act like, and that's what they'll tell you. You tell them something, touch and agree with me. Look, God might disagree. Touch and agree. All you got to do, and it's good. You got scripture that say, well, two or more come in his name, he is in the midst, and agree upon a thing, it'll be done. But that don't mean across the board, every single solitary thing. It might not be his will. You still got to be able to serve. But see, these people don't know that serving God comes first and everything else is secondary. They think it's about them having what they want first. No, it's serving God first to get the reward, to get into his kingdom. Everything else is secondary. That's why he says, seek ye the kingdom of God first. Everything else will be added. Now, 2 Corinthians 12 and verse 7, here's Paul going to tell us about some stuff he had to deal with. But that's what it's about, because we more than conquerors. We need to be able to deal with some stuff if we more than conquerors, right? Go ahead, verse 7.
And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. Okay, now Paul, see, the Lord will do this. See, the Lord will do stuff to you to keep you in line so you don't get out of hand. You might get too big-headed. Just like we doing some stuff for the Lord, we preaching the word, we reaching people in different places. But, I mean, it's still evident that we just normal people. We ain't like superheroes, everything going real good. We just, got everything right. It's just perfect. Nah. We just
it's evident that, hey, we ain't nobody special. Well, that's what Paul had to be knocked down a peg or two, because the Lord had blessed him. He knew a lot of stuff, had even dreams and revelations of the Lord, and he was dealing with a whole lot of people, but he understood. He said the Lord gave him a thorn in the flesh, the messenger say. So in other words, that see, people look at people in the Bible like they were superheroes and they didn't have to even worry about nothing. They just had it, you know. They just, oh, I wish I could be like Paul. Look, Paul was just like you. Paul had issues that he had to deal with, that he had to overcome. So that's what he's telling. Even though Paul maybe seen a lot more than us because he saw Jesus. Jesus talked to him in a vision. But yet still, he still had this. That's what he said. It was giving him a thorn in the flesh. He had some kind of ailment in his flesh. He said, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. Satan is buffeting Paul. People tell me, oh, no, I'm going to spit in Satan's eye. I'm going to spit in his eye. Look, Paul didn't say that, did he? He said, the messenger of Satan buffeted me, and that lest I should be exalted above measure. Just so everybody can see, look, Paul wasn't so special when he didn't have to go through nothing. He went through stuff like everybody else. Verse 8.
For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, and it might depart from me.
Yeah, tell them they got to quiet down in the sound room. He said, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me, but what?
And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
See, now he kept seeking the Lord. Now people said touch and agree, and you know the Lord gonna do it. Look, he might not do it though. What you gonna do then? See, he didn't do it for Paul. Paul said, ain't nothing wrong with seeking the Lord on a matter. But Paul said he sought the Lord thrice, 3 times, that it might depart from him. Some kind of problem he had. Probably he couldn't see good, because he mentioned some stuff like that before. But whatever it is, it's a problem he got, right? And he said he besought the Lord thrice that it depart from him. And he said, the answer came back, my grace is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weak. In other words, sometimes God wants you to have some weakness that you have to overcome, because you're supposed to be more than a conqueror. You ain't going to have it made in the shade. We striving and working to get it made in the shade, but that ain't right now, is it? So he said, his strength is made perfect in weak. See, that proves God. That's why God will use small or people that are not supposed to look like they know nothing or own nothing to do great things. That's where everybody knows it's God. Go ahead, finish verse 9.
Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
He said, most gladly, I will glory in my infirmities. Paul said, look, instead of, we like to glory and stuff that we think we got going on. Oh, I'm this, and I did this. I did this. I was the first one that did this. Like brothers when I was at church in Chicago, Brother Bowie Church, brothers would always say about certain scriptures. They would try to talk about scriptures like, I seen that first. Who cares? I seen that first. It don't belong to you. But Paul is saying just the opposite. He said, I glory in my infirmities. Why not be, in other words, he would say, I ain't seen nothing. I didn't know nothing. I'm kind of slow. He said, most gladly I will glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So that's what he said is worth glorying in. But now let's look at, go ahead and read verse 10.
Therefore I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake.
See, now you see what he's saying? Because he knows it's about being more than a conqueror and letting the Lord go to work on stuff. Sometimes when you're in a situation, hey, you just have to look back. That's why when stuff come up a lot of times, I say, I'm going to see how the Lord take this. See which way the Lord going to take it. Because we know the Lord is in control. And that's the one we trusting in. So he said, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in other words, he looked forward to some issues to come up. Issue come up, he ain't shying away and like, oh, what we going to do now? What's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. I can't do that. That's too much for me. He said, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessity. Necessity means he in need, right? Mm-hmm. He said, I look forward to it. Yeah, I know I need this. I got an issue. I need this. He said, I look forward to it because it's going to be all right. In persecutions. Now he's talking about somebody persecuting him. In distresses for Christ's sake. For what?
For when I am weak, then am I strong.
See, when you're in a weak, vulnerable position, hey, that's the right time for God to intervene on your behalf. That's the right time. But now let's go further. Go to Exodus 14. Just show you how we forget real quick, too. We can know God with us today. Something good could happen, or God could even defend you today in a matter, and then he let something else happen tomorrow, and all of a sudden we've been forgot that quick. You've been to lost faith that quick. See, it shouldn't be like that, right? Especially when God then showed you. Just like in all our life, we didn't get here by accident where we at even here today. Wherever you at listening on the phone or on the internet or even here, God then had to show you some stuff. He had to bring you from some places to get you here today. So that's a testimony to God. So why should you get in another situation tomorrow and be ready to pull your hair out? Not that you won't be concerned about being in a bad situation, but not to the point where you about to faint and you about to give, I can't take it no more. No, it ain't going to get to that point. Because you should know better. Because you know you more than a conqueror. Exodus 14. But that's how Israel is, especially Israel. Israel, we can be real fickle. That means, hey, we up today and down tomorrow. Really be talking stuff. Like the Bible say in one place, it say Israel roar like bears. It say we roar all like bears and mourn, so like doves. I mean, you'll be talking stuff, and then when somebody really brings it, I seen a YouTube clip. Somebody showed me a YouTube clip. A brother on a bus in some city, I don't even know what city. Brother on the bus talking smack to an old Gentile guy. It's a brother, too. That's talking smack. I come over there and bust you upside there. You stupid. Man, that Gentile took it a long time. Old Gentile, he took it a long time. Then he got up and went upside that brother's head. That brother was he was roaring like a bear for a minute. He was mourning like a dove. He said, somebody called the ambulance. That was too much. But that's exactly what the Bible says. The Bible says we roar like a bear, and then before it's over, we mourning like a dove. He should have left that Gentile alone. People on the bus say, he leaking. He was bleeding so bad. People say he leaking. Exodus 14. He should have kept his mouth shut while he had time. But Israel changed quick. Israel can be up 1 minute and down the next. Been to forgot who on their side. Exodus 14 and verse 30. Go ahead.
Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians.
See, now this is when they came out of Egypt. They went through the Red Sea, and the Lord saved them. But notice, it said he saved Israel that day. See, tomorrow is going to be another day, and you might be in another situation. But you can't forget what the Lord did yesterday, that day, right? And act like, it ain't no hope, Look, God is the same God that saved you yesterday, right? So it's in his hands, whatever happened. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And what did Israel see?
And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore.
And they saw the Egyptians because they tried to catch them in the Red Sea, and the Lord drowned all of them. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. That was one of the greatest deliverance you ever could see. A great nation like Egypt, that was like the superpower of its time. It was the superpower, and the Lord killed them all for Israel. Go ahead, 31.
And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians.
They saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. Go ahead.
And the people feared the Lord.
And that was good. They feared the Lord. But how long will your fear of the Lord last? Because you can forget about it tomorrow. It's like we've been in situations, I've heard people say, oh, God, if you get me out of this, oh, I'm going to do right. I'm going to do right. Yeah, you fear not because you're in trouble, but then you get out of that, you've been and forgot all about that, go acting stupid tomorrow. But he can put you in something worse. And the people feared the Lord and what?
And believed the Lord.
And believed the Lord and who else?
And his servant Moses.
And his servant Moses. Go to the 15th chapter. This was a good time. This was the good side. But what about when you have to be faced with being more than a conqueror, dealing with some bad stuff? 15:1. Go ahead.
Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord.
Oh, we good for singing too, ain't it? But see, you gotta be able to overcome in the bad times. So they sang Moses unto the Lord this and spake, saying what?
I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea.
Go ahead.
The Lord is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him a habitation.
Go ahead.
My father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
Oh, they pumped up, boy. They singing. They magnifying the Lord. But you can't forget that tomorrow, right? Go ahead.
Pharaoh's chariots and his host has he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea.
Oh, they singing, reflecting on what the Lord did, right? Now go right to the 16th chapter. We ain't even a chapter removed, and we're going to see a whole nother people that act like they can't overcome nothing. Because sometimes we just want what we want, and we get indignant with God when we don't get it. 16:1. Go ahead.
And they took their journey from Elam.
Now they journeying, a little bit after singing, they journeying. Now you got to live life. The honeymoon is over with. Go ahead.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elam and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
So this ain't no time. They just got out of Egypt, right? They just got through singing, right? Go ahead.
And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness.
Now they just got through singing, all of a sudden they murmuring. Just that quick. They upset, and now ain't nothing right. They can't do nothing. Can't overcome nothing. Just saw how the Lord let them overcome the greatest army at that time, drowned them in the Red Sea. They were singing and glorifying God. Now the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against. It must be something real bad that they murmuring, right? Let's see what their problem is. Verse 3.
And the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt.
That's one of the most stupid statements they could have made at this time. That don't make no sense at all. See, they done lost hope already, and they just got out of Egypt, just seeing the great work of the Lord. Oh, I wish we would have died. Because one little thing is not going like they think it should go. Something not going like they want it to go. You know you're dealing with the Almighty God who just did something miraculous that you know only he could have did. Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord. See, sometimes we'll say stupid stuff, and you're gonna end up getting it that way too. Because you don't know. You wasn't dealing with Moses and Aaron. You're dealing with God. Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt when what?
When we sat by the flesh pots.
See, that's what they want. They want some meat, so they just upset about that. We ain't had no meat in a while. I wish we could have died when we had them flesh pots. I remember that flesh. They sick. The Lord gonna take care. It ain't like the Lord gonna let them starve, but they ain't getting what they want. It ain't going their way. See, too many people in the average church think it's supposed to go their way. That's what the preachers make them feel, because it's going the preacher way. He robbing them blind. So he lying to them. You supposed to have it too. Yeah, I give you a few dollars now, but you got to get it. You got to stand up and go get it. I'm going to give you a few dollars to help you out, but you got to get it. Now, maybe you ain't. It's just backwards. It ain't supposed to go your way all the time. It's not going their way. They just drowned Pharaoh The Lord just drowned Pharaoh's army. They seen them dead on the seashore. They was singing. Now, yeah, they ain't got everything they want to eat right now. That's okay. That ain't the end of the world. But they say, would to God we had died by the Lord in the land of Egypt when we sat by the flesh pots. And what else?
And when we did eat bread to the full.
Oh, we ate bread to the full. You were slaves, dummy. You probably eating the dirty bread that they gave you in the first place. Go ahead.
For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Now, do that make sense at all? You just was singing a minute ago. What happened to, you remember the song? What happened to the Lord? He can't feed you. He drowned the army. That ain't his department food, though. Verse 4.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you.
Now the Lord going to do something else, but see, this ain't going to be good enough. Because when you stubborn and just want it your way, it ain't going to matter. He said, I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you. Go ahead.
And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
He said, I'm going to give them a test. They doing all this talking, but I'm going to give them a test, and I'm going to put a hurting on them if they don't do what I tell them to do. They think this is a game. I'm going to show them. Verse 5.
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel at even, then ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out from the land of Egypt.
See, they forgot that quick. Now the Lord going to do a miracle. The Lord was going to take care of them no matter what. But now he going to rain them some bread, and he know they want some meat too. He said, I'm going to give you some meat too, but it ain't going to be like you think. Go ahead. See, sometimes you can be bugging the Lord, asking for something that you really don't need at the time. And then the Lord give it to you, you be all messed up. You be wish he would, I didn't need that. No, the Lord tried to help you. But no, you wanted it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you more than enough of it. I'm going to give you too much of it. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of the Lord, for that he heareth your murmuring against the Lord. And what are we, that ye murmur against us?
See, they doing all this murmuring because it ain't going like they want it to go. It don't always go like you want it to go. It ain't the end of the world, though. But they murmur, oh, that ain't right. We should have just stayed in Egypt, brought us out here to kill us. That's offensive to God. Because God is telling you he doing all this to take you to a promised land, and you contradicting him. And that's why Moses said, and what are we that you murmur against us? You think you murmuring against us? You're going to find out who you're dealing with. Verse 8.
And Moses said, this shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat.
The Lord going to give you some flesh to eat. This shall be, and you're going to know. Go ahead.
And in the morning bread to the full. For that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord.
Verse 9.
And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying to all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before the Lord, for he hath heard your murmurings.
See, they was murmuring for no reason. Over some little isolated. That's how Israel, we get upset for the smallest things. And the Lord hear it, though. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud.
Now the Lord showed up on them, and let's see what the Aaron and Moses been talking. Let's see what the Lord say. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, speaking to them, saying, at even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God.
He said, I'm gonna give it to you, but sometimes you can make God mad. He give you more, he give you too much. He'll keep giving it to you. And we're gonna see that. Flip over to 1 Corinthians 10, and then we're gonna come back here to the Old Testament. 1 Corinthians 10 and 1. Let's look at what he said about them murmurs. This is the same time. Now again, they were singing 1 minute after they came out of Egypt, and they murmuring the next upset because they don't want to overcome nothing. They don't want to conquer nothing. The Lord trying to teach them that it's about serving him. It's not about you doing your own will. That's why he said he suffered them to hunger, so they will know that your main purpose is not to live by bread alone, but by the word of God. So he suffered them to go through some things to teach them some lessons, but Israel is unteachable sometimes. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea.
See, now this is what we just was reading about with Moses and them. They were all under the cloud and passed through the sea, talking about the Red Sea, and he drowned Pharaoh. He drowned Pharaoh in the Red Sea, and they were singing and having a good time, but then all of a sudden they murmured, so we're going to skip down to that. Skip down to verse 10 and go ahead.
Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
See, that's what happened. They went through the Red Sea, had all that glorious victory, then they started murmuring, and they end up getting destroyed. That wasn't going to benefit them. You murmuring about something that don't mean nothing is not going to help at all. Like I always say anyway, if it was an issue that you could try to fix, then you try to fix it. But just to murmur about it ain't going to do, no, that ain't right. You ain't trying to help nothing. Well, that's the state they was in. He said, neither murmur ye as some of them also murmured. We saw it and were destroyed of the destroyer. Verse 11.
Now all these things happen unto them for example, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall.
See, you got to be on guard to serving God and be able to conquer some things. See, if they would have had that mindset, they wouldn't have been worried about no flesh. You gonna get enough to eat. You ain't got to worry about that. You dealing with the Almighty God. He gonna take care of you. So, but they had the wrong mindset. Why would he take you out of Egypt, drown the Egyptian army, and then kill you with hunger? That don't make no sense at all. You're dealing with the Almighty God. But now, he said, wherefore let him think he stand and take heed lest he fall. Because you could be with him today when they were singing that song, and you could be against him tomorrow. Go to Numbers 11. Let's go back and look at it. Numbers 11, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. Numbers 11, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. Okay, go ahead.
And Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me?
See, Moses, he was getting weary himself. He said, I'm tired of these people. I'm only doing what you doing, God. I'm telling them what you said. These people crazy, and you got me dealing with all these people. You must hate me, God. Go ahead, verse 12.
Have I conceived all this people?
Moses snapping to God. Did I give birth to all these people, Lord? Go ahead.
Have I begotten them, that thou shouldest say unto me, carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth the sucking child, unto the land which thou swearest unto their fathers?
He said, did I bring this all on myself? Is it just me, or what's going on here, Lord? But Moses, it's because the people, they fickle. They believe in the Lord one day, then they don't believe. They've seen everything they need to see, that you should never have to have any doubt about your God. You should know you can conquer anything, no matter what the situation looked like. That was the worst situation you could have been in, with that army chasing you down, and you didn't have nowhere to go but through the Red Sea. And ain't no way you can go through there unless the Lord split it. Then the Lord split it. Not only do he split it, he let them dummies come in and out. They knew it was something wrong, but they came in after. Then he let you get out and drown them in there, and you looking at all them dead bodies. And then you going to dispute anything else that God say? That don't make no sense. So he said, look. He said, have I conceived all this people? Verse 13. Go ahead.
When should I have flesh to give unto all these people?
See, that was the problem. They mad because they ain't got no meat. A small thing, right? What is that? They upset. We ain't got no flesh. Oh, you should have stayed in Egypt. Oh, I wish we would have just died by the flesh pots. I would have been in heaven then. So Moses is snapping now. They got him snapping. The Lord probably said all these people crazy, including Moses. He said, when should I have flesh to give unto all this people? Go ahead.
For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh that we may eat.
See, that's what they was doing. Skip down to verse 18. Because what the Lord did, he knew Moses needed some help. He said, okay, Moses, cool out a minute. I'm going to get you 70 men. They're going to help you deal with this stuff. And then I deal with the people. Don't worry about the people. I'm going to give them some flesh eyes. Skip down to verse 18 and read it.
And say thou unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh.
See, sometimes you heard the old saying, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. You might get it in abundance. You playing with the Lord. You be sorry you asked for that one. I should have never asked for that. He said, you going to eat some flesh? Go ahead.
For ye have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat?
Like that's too hard for God. You really just tripping. But go ahead.
For it was well with us in Egypt.
See, the Lord hated that stuff. He heard every word of it. Oh, it was well with you in Egypt, huh? All right. Go ahead.
Therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and ye shall eat.
The Lord said, I'm going to give you some flesh, and you going to eat 19.
Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days. But even a whole month until it come out of your nostrils.
You know you can have too much of something, can't you? You be like, I don't want no more. I don't even want to see no more flesh. Nah, you going to eat it now. Every day, this is going to be your meal from now on. Not 1 day, not 2, not 5, not 10, not 20. I'm going to give you flesh, all right. You want some flesh? You think the Lord can't give you no flesh? I got some flesh for you. But even a whole month until it come out at your nostrils. You're going to have flesh coming out your nose. You like it that much? Go ahead.
And it be loathsome unto you.
You know when you have a whole lot of something, you just start to hate it, don't you? You don't even want to see it no more. Just like being full and somebody set a big, you just ate a whole lot of food. Somebody bring another big plate or something. You say, oh, I can't. Don't even show me that. Why you do that? It's the same thing here. The Lord is upset with these people. He said, I'm going to give you flesh, and it's going to be loathsome unto you. You're going to loathe some flesh. Because what?
Because that ye have despised the Lord, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt?
See, they had a simple thing to conquer, and that was a little hunger for a time. That's why Paul understood. Then Paul said he learned in every state on how to deal with it. He learned how to suffer, be full and be hungry, right? That's why we take time to fast sometimes, to learn how to be hungry, so we can be able to deal with stuff. You might be in a situation where you're not eating for a while. At least if you can fast in a day, you can at least go 24 hours. Some people have a hard time with that. But now, the Lord was upset and he gave them flesh to the full, didn't he? Now let's go to Numbers 13. Numbers 13. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. But they didn't realize that everything wasn't supposed to go their way. You got to be able to overcome some things with the Lord. The Lord going to take care of you, but he ain't going to make it all go your way. He had already proved to you he God, though. 13:1. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them.
Now, he telling me take them to the promised land, but it's a process. And you still got to deal with everyday affairs. You got to deal with reality. And if you look at it from the outward appearance or from the natural appearance, it might look real challenging and too hard to conquer, right? But if you know you got the Almighty God on your side, which they should have known that, right? They should know they more than conquerors. So he's sending them to the promised land, and Moses going to send them to spy it out. Go ahead.
And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
So he sent them. Skip down to verse 25, because here they come back. They went to check the land out, the promised land that they was on their way to. Verse 25, and go ahead.
And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days.
40 days they went. Go ahead.
And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land.
Go ahead.
And they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it.
See, now, technically, with their mindset, they shouldn't even be here getting ready to go into the land anyway, because they wanted to be back in Egypt, they dumb self. Right? They threw the towel in on this. But the Lord going to do what he going to do anyway. It don't matter. But you just might not partake in it if you act crazy along the way and don't realize you got to overcome. So they, in the end, they not going to partake on it because they getting ready to mess up again. They was crying about some flesh. Now these brothers went and spied the land. They said, oh yeah, it's like the Lord been telling us. It's a land that floweth with milk and oh, it's beautiful. Here goes some of the fruit of it. Look at this. 28.
Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak.
So now they talk about the people. They say, well, them some big dudes over there. I don't know about that. Them some big dudes. 29. We saw Anak over there too. Go ahead, 29.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan.
Go ahead.
And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it.
See, now Caleb, he's one of the ones that got some faith. Only one of many. He's only one out of all these people that got some real faith. He know what the Lord can do. He done seen the example, and he believed the Lord. He said, ain't no need even talking about it, because he see the way the conversation going. He said, these people crazy. They really instilling fear. Caleb cut him out and said, look, let's go right now. Let's go right now and deal with this. We can overtake them. We can deal with them. But now the other one's really going to jump in. 31.
But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people. For they are stronger than we.
Now, where's God at in all this? You had the Almighty God. Pharaoh was stronger than these people. He had a strong army with chariots and all that, and the Lord just took them down, and you seen them all dead. You even sang a song about it. Want to hear it? So,
there you go.
Now, what is the problem? They stronger than us. 32.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up in the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the son of Anak.
They just blowing it all up. See, but they didn't forget, or they never did understand that they supposed to be able to conquer stuff. That's what Paul was trying to instill in those people, that you more than a conqueror. You can't look in the face of stuff and look at it on the surface. You got to remember who you operating with. You got to remember who on your side. That's why he said, if God be for us, who can be against us? Them people can't stand against you if God on your side. But it might look like physically you ain't no match for them. But if you got God, you more than a match for them. Go ahead.
And we in our own sights as grasshoppers, and so were in their sight.
They said, look, those people are of great stature. They giants over there. And they stronger than us. And we saw the sons of Anak giants, which come of the giants. And we in our own sight are as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Say, man, we ain't number grasshoppers. I'm sure that's the way they look upon us. No kind of faith, right? Let alone, they ain't ready to be a conqueror, let alone more than a conqueror, right? Now, go to the 14th chapter, right into 14:1. Go ahead.
And all the congregations lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night.
See, this is a good example of what not to do. This is a good example on somebody that didn't realize you're supposed to be more than a conqueror. Now they crying. They ain't even went over there yet and saw, they just got a report. The people ain't came and bust them upside the head. They crying all right, what we gonna do? Look, you done threw the towel in on what the Lord is doing. Verse 2.
And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron.
See, that's what Israel do when it look like it ain't going good. Because they ain't got no faith. They start murmuring against Moses and Aaron. Go ahead.
And the whole congregation said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness?
See, now you should understand. You should understand why all these people had to die in the wilderness. These people were crazy. They didn't realize what they were supposed to be about. See, God hear everything they saying, and that's what he said in the end. He said, you wanted to die in the wilderness. Guess what? You're going to get your wish. And guess what? I'm still going to take some people to the promised land. It's just going to be your kids since you were stupid. I'm going to take your kids. I'm going to let you live around here long enough. You're going to give birth to some kids, and I'm going to let you die right here, and I'm going to take your children in there. And the children going to go in there, even though the children, they didn't hardly see. A lot of them didn't see some of the stuff that went on that the father saw. But anyway, they would God that we had died in Egypt, would God that we had died in the wilderness. Verse 3.
And wherefore hath the Lord brought us up unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt?
And then they start trying to go back to Egypt. Let's go back. Crazy. Verse 4.
And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes.
See, them the only ones got some real understanding. Moses and Aaron and Joshua and Caleb knew better. Joshua and Caleb was 2 out of 12. 2 out of 12 had some sense. The other 10 overrode them, though, and said, nah, man, we can't do nothing with them people. Them people too big. They ain't mentioned the Lord one time. Go ahead, verse 7.
And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land.
See, they got understanding. We can conquer them if the Lord is on our side. But y'all making the Lord mad right now. Go ahead.
And give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey.
Go ahead.
Only rebel not ye against the Lord. Neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us.
See, they got some understanding. But that shows you they got a different mindset, because it don't look that way from the outward appearance. But they looking at it from a spiritual appearance. They knowing God is in control of this. That's how you got to look at stuff. Even when the circumstances don't look good. You know God is in control. You don't have to worry about it. God going to let it happen how it need to happen. Go ahead.
Their defense is departed from us, from them. And the Lord is with us. Fear them not.
See, he said they ain't got no defense. They defense is departed. The Lord on our side. That's the only one that can really help them. And we got him. They help. Whatever help they can have, we got the help. Because God is the only one that can help. He can make you fall or win. God, and he's on our side. So they ain't got a chance. They understood. But, verse 10.
But all the congregation bade, stoned them with stones.
They said, Now, that show you, boy. You scared to go fight these people, but you going to kill your own people. Stone them with stone. No, go stone them with stone. Your scared butt. But go ahead.
And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel.
See, now they really made the Lord mad. They're going to stone the few people that believe. Few people got faith. They look crazy. Verse 11.
And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed among them.
See, that's real clear, isn't it? The Lord just say, how long? I mean, I didn't prove myself to them. What they don't understand yet. How long is it going to be? I done showed them signs. I brought them out of Egypt. I drowned Pharaoh. Even when they made me mad and wanted some flesh, I gave them flesh. Verse 12. I'm sick of them.
I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they.
See, the Lord was fed up, boy. He said, I'm going to smite them with the pestilence. I'm going to give them all disease right now and disinherit them. But Moses, being the intercessor, what did he do?
And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest us this people in thy might from among them. And they would tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people, that thou, Lord, art seen face to face, that thy cloud standeth over them, and that thou goest before them by day, time in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night.
Go ahead.
Now if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, Because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness.
See, Moses knew how to appeal to the Lord. The Lord tried, and the Lord wasn't going to kill Moses. That shows you Moses wasn't in jeopardy, right? Moses was, as they say in some of them contests, them singing contests, he was safe. He was over there. He can sit down. He was safe. The Lord said, I'm going to kill all of them. You okay, Moses? I'm going to make you a greater nation. But Moses still pleading for them. Moses said, Lord, that's going to make you look bad. The people going to say you weak. You couldn't take them over there if you kill all these people. Go ahead, keep reading.
And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering.
Now he used the Lord's words on him because the Lord told Moses he was long-suffering and merciful. Go ahead.
And of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now.
He said, just forgive them, Lord. Don't kill them all. Go ahead.
And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word.
Well, that shows you the Lord is something else. He humbled himself to a man. He was ready to kill the people, but he listened to Moses. Moses interceded. See, that's the way Jesus, that's why Moses and Jesus the same. Jesus interceded. The Lord, the Father might be wanting to kill us now, and Jesus be sitting at the right hand. Father, don't kill him. Don't kill him. Give him one more chance. They tried. Let me punish him a little bit, and then we'll see how it work out. Just like Moses did right here. That's why just like Moses got 70 helpers, Jesus has 70 helpers. First had 12 and then had 70. Same thing Moses had. But go ahead.
But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice.
Now what he going to do for them? See, he said, I ain't going to kill them all, but what?
Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it.
See, they not going to get in. He said, I'm going to make sure they don't get in. Go ahead, verse 24.
But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it.
See, him and Joshua, those are the examples, the good examples for us. Somebody that knew that they were supposed to be more than a conqueror. Even in the face of great opposition that didn't look like they can overcome it, hey, they knew better. They said, man, they ain't nothing for us. Matter of fact, it wasn't that they was even concerned. It's like, man, that ain't won't be nothing for us. They don't have no strength for us. They like bread for us, the Lord on our side. They can't win. But it was just the opposite when you're not looking at it in spiritual eyes. Now, go to 2 Kings 6. That's why you got to keep in mind all the time that if you serving the Lord is on your side, no matter what the circumstances look like. Circumstances can look real bleak. Here's an example where it looked bleak. 2 Kings 6, but it's more to everything that meets the eye. 2 Kings 6, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. 2 Kings 6 and verse 11. Okay, go ahead.
Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, will ye not show me this which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elijah, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber.
See, now that's what was going on. This king, they was trying to fight the king of Israel, but the prophet, hey, he tapped in with the Lord letting him know where the king going, and he letting the king of Israel know. He warning them so he can deliver himself and won't get caught up by this king that's warring against him. Go ahead.
And he said, go and spy where he is.
So now this king is upset because they knew, because this king said he must got a spy in the midst of them, right? He said, somebody gonna tell me. That's what, because what happened, we just jumped in here, but what happened, every time he think he done laid a trap for the king of Israel, the king of Israel be gone. And he's like, how this dude keep getting out of this? So that's why he was troubled. It said he was troubled, and he called all his servants, and he said, will ye not show me which one of us is for the king of Israel? Somebody snitching up in here. That's what he thought. See, he didn't know about the God of Israel, and God will work through his servants. And that's what one of his servants told him. He said, one of the servants in verse 12 said, none of us for the king of Israel. They knew what was going on. Somebody knew. They said, man, ain't none of us for the king of Israel. But Elisha, the prophet that's in Israel, he tell the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bed. So he said, man, you in your bed, that guy, he tapped in. And why you going to even try to mess with this guy if he can do this? This shows you how crazy people will be. So then he said, go spy where he is and go send and fetch him. He going to go get the prophet now. Go ahead.
And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan.
So they spied out and found out where the prophet Elisha was, and he's in Dothan. 14.
Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host.
Now he sent a great army to get the prophet. Now he ain't worried about the king of Israel because he know the prophet helping him, right? Go ahead.
And they came by night and compassed the city about.
And now they didn't enclose the city with a great army. But go ahead.
And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do?
See, so the servant woke up and he seen that Syrian army all around the city. He was like outdone. He said, alas, my master, how shall we do? Like, what the heck we gonna do now? We in trouble. And don't look like we can get out of this. I don't see no way out. What shall we do? But look at somebody that's tapped into God that really got some understanding and some faith. Verse 16.
And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
See, and it's always that way. It's always that way. That's why Paul said the same thing. Paul said, if God be for us, who can be against us? In other words, they ain't got a chance. You ain't even got to worry about that. Even though you might not be in the case that Elisha was, where he actually seen the help right there, but you know the help is there. You know you're dealing with the Almighty God. That's what Paul said. If God be for us, who can be against? They don't have a chance. They just don't know it. Verse 17.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see.
See, Elisha saw more than just the army that was surrounding them. Go ahead.
And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
See, it was some angels there. They had the other army surrounded. The army had them surrounded, but it was the angels had that army surrounded. See, it's a whole spiritual realm out here working for God. Verse 18.
And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha.
See, something simple like that. See, the Lord got all these angels at our disposal. Elisha just said, look, I just make them blind. Made them all blind. Just like one time Hezekiah was seeking the Lord, the Syrian army had him caged in. Even it's in history books that Sennacherib said, I had Hezekiah caged in like a bird, like a caged bird. But then in the history book, they knew something happened too. In the history book, it said, but a plague forced them to withdraw before they could conquer Jerusalem. Well, that plague wasn't nothing but one angel. Because in the Bible, it didn't say a plague, but that's what it was. But who brought the plague on them? How a whole army all of a sudden died of a plague when they about to conquer the city? It said one angel went out there and killed the whole army, 185,000. One angel. Now here Elisha got chariots of angels around him, right? You know these people in trouble. But again, if you just looking at it from the naked eye, you don't know that. You wouldn't believe it. You'd be like the young man said, alas, master, what shall we do? What we going to do now? Oh, we in trouble now. But no, he made them blind. He asked the Lord to make them blind, and that's what he did. He smote them with blindness. 19.
And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city.
Now they can't see, so he go talk to him. He said, y'all looking for somebody, huh? He said, y'all, this ain't the way. This ain't the city. And they know they in trouble, boy. They all got blind at once. They going to do anything he say. Go ahead.
Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria.
See, he think he is him. That's the one they were seeking, but he took them to Samaria. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when they were come into Samaria that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men.
See, now he's going to open their eyes back up. But they in trouble now. Go ahead.
That they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw. And behold, they are in the midst of Samaria.
See, they were in the midst of Samaria, the king of Israel capital, and his army is there now. See, they was blind, got led there. Now they in trouble. And they can get done in, but under the circumstances, that wasn't the time for that. Go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto Elisha.
He wanted to. What'd he say?
When he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them?
He said, should I smite them? Shall I smite them? What'd he say?
And he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master.
He said, no, don't smite them. If you took somebody captive, you wouldn't smite them. Just give them something to eat and send them home. But again, it just shows you, when you know that God is on your side, hey, even the worst situations, you ain't fearing in it. You know that God is able in whatever situation. That's why Daniel's 3 friends in Babylon, they didn't fear the king to the point where he telling them to bow down to this golden image and you going in the fire. You know they got to have some faith in their God when they said, look, put me in the fire. And they didn't know for sure that they was going to get spared, but they at the point where they know they more than a conqueror. That's all right. Even if we burn up, we'll be all right. We'll see you later. We'll see you in the morning when God wake us up. It ain't going to matter. You cannot lose. That's what he's talking about. We more than conquerors. So Elisha understood it, and he had to help the young man understand it. What verse you at?
That was 22.
Okay, back up to verse 16. Back up to verse 16 and read it again, because this is something that's said in the New Testament, just said a little different, but it's the same thing. Go ahead.
And he answered, fear not.
This is what Elisha told the young man when he panicked at first. He said, fear not what?
For they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
See, but he didn't see it. And a lot of times we can't see it. But this is always the way it is. Notice what John said, 1 John 4. See, it's the same thing. This is what you got to tap into, knowing that you got the power. That's why when you first get in the Word, you don't realize this at all. And you know you got the Word, but other people, they more boastful and proud of what they got than you are. And they kind of be talking loud, and, you know, somebody with the Word be kind of halfway scared. But you got to realize the power that you got by serving the real, true, and living God. That's why I fooled some guys, you know, on my job a few times. They thought, because everything that we deal with is different from what everybody else. But I wouldn't say nothing because it wasn't nothing to be said. One dude mistaked me, thought I was scared. I told him about some stuff. I told him about Christmas and eating pork and all that stuff because we rode home from work together. And then he listened. He kind of tried to dispute a little bit, but he didn't say too much. But he got to work a little bit after that, and they talking about the Christmas party in the morning before we start working. We sitting around drinking coffee, and he going to pull me into it. I'm just sitting there listening. I don't care. They can talk about it all they want. I'm drinking coffee. And I ain't moving either. I'm right there. Y'all talk about it. I ain't got nothing to say, but I'm over here. So he look over at me and going to try to put me on the spot. He know I don't celebrate Christmas. I done told him it's bogus. So why he going to say it in front of these people? Because he think I'm going to be, like, embarrassed. He said, oh, yeah, you don't celebrate Christmas, do you? I said, no, I wouldn't be called dead at a Christmas party. And all of them they looked up and put their head back down. Because he thought because I wasn't saying nothing that maybe I was a little shy, a little scared. Look, you don't want to get started with me. I just ain't saying nothing because you ain't nothing to say. But you want to get it started, we can talk about it. 4 and 1. 1 John 4 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
See, he said, don't believe every spirit, The world is jacked up. People say they got the Spirit. Well, he said don't believe every spirit. Because many false prophets claiming to have the Spirit of God are going out into the world. So they don't have it. They operate by the spirit of Satan. But now, skip down to verse 4, because we got to overcome all this wickedness, all the false prophets, but we got the power to do it. Verse 4, go ahead.
Ye are of God.
Now, when you of God, hey, you overcame all of it. You got the power. You more than a conqueror. So he said, ye are of God. Go ahead.
Little children. And have overcome them.
See, who overcome who? Really talking about the false prophet. See, when you get in the truth, you overcame the false prophet because you done bypass all the lies that they dealing with. Go ahead.
Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
See, even though the world is contrary to God, it seems like it's more on their side. It's many false prophets, right? It's many false prophets. It ain't many true servants of God preaching the word. There's a whole lot of them, a few of us, right? Like Micaiah was all by himself in the Old Testament. 2 Chronicles, I think 17. He was all by himself against 400 false prophets. He was all by himself, but he wasn't scared. He went and told them all of them they was liars. He wasn't scared because he understood that greater is he that is with him than he that is in the world. That's the same thing Elisha understood. He said, it's more of them with us than it is with them. Even though you can't see it, it don't appear like that from the outward appearance. That's what you got to know. 2 Corinthians 4. We're almost done. 2 Corinthians 4. Second Corinthians 4, we're going to pick it up at verse 8. 4 and 8. 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 8. Okay, go ahead.
We are troubled on every side.
Now, again, it ain't like you ain't going to have no issues. You ain't going to go through nothing. Paul was going through a lot, so much so he said, we are troubled on every side. That's a lot of trouble, right? Trouble coming from everywhere. And the more we get deeper into the word, the more the word start getting out and we reaching more people, it's going to be some trouble coming our way, more trouble. But he said, we are troubled on every side, yet what?
Yet not distressed.
Mm-hmm.
We are perplexed, but not in despair.
See, you can be perplexed, but you still won't be in despair because ultimately, you know you more than a conqueror. You know who's on your side. Go ahead.
Persecuted, but not forsaken.
See, you can get persecuted. God will let you get persecuted, but that don't mean he forsook you. See, some people mistake that. They say, well, why God let it happen then? If I believe in God, why he let it happen? Why not? You can deal with it. You can overcome it. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Go ahead.
Cast down, but not destroyed.
You might get cast down, but that don't mean you destroyed. You still able to get back up. Go ahead.
Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body.
See, you going through symbolically, you suffering symbolically like Jesus suffered when he died. And just like when he rose, hey, the Lord is able to bring you out of whatever difficulties it are. Go ahead. Skip down to verse 16 and go ahead.
For which cause we faint not, but thou our outward man perish.
Though our outward man perish,
Yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
He says, so we don't faint because we know who is on our side. We know that we supposed to be more than a conqueror. So whatever it is, he said we don't faint. And even though our outward man perish, the inward man renewed day by day. So we can be going through some stuff on the outside, but the mind should be getting stronger and stronger. Saying this ain't gonna be nothing in the end. It ain't gonna matter. Even though somebody can be hitting you upside the head on the outside. But go ahead, 17.
For our light affliction, which is but for a moment.
See, it's some affliction, but in the big scheme of things, it's light affliction. Whatever you're going through, he said, our light affliction, it's only going to be for a moment, but what we striving to get is to be like God is going to be eternal. Go ahead.
Worketh for us a far more exceeding and external weight of glory.
But working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. What we're going through now is nothing compared to the eternal glory we're going to get in the end. Verse 18.
While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen.
See, that's what you got to focus on. What you see might not look so good. Might look like you can't get over that. But in the end, you can, because you're more than a conqueror. Go ahead.
For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
See, what we see, whatever obstacles there are, that's just temporary. We're going for something much greater than that, eternal. And we're dealing with the eternal God. One more place, Revelation 2. See, that's why this is repeated. We're just going to read one time here. But he said over and over and over to let you know you're supposed to be conquering something. He said, he that overcometh, he that overcometh. Repeatedly. If he keeps saying he that overcometh, you got to overcome something. 2:25, and this will be it. Go ahead.
But that which ye have already hold fast till I come.
Okay, so now you can have something, but it's possible for you to lose it. Because you can faint and give up, right? So he warning you, don't do it. Hold it fast till the end, till he comes. That which you have, hold fast till I come. That means you don't have to, but he warning you that you better. Hold it fast till I come. And if you do that, if you stay the course, like he already told you, predestined. He already told you all things work together for good to them that love God, and that's called according to his purpose. So that which you have already hold fast till I come. And then what?
And he that overcometh and keepeth my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
See, but you got to overcome, don't you? You got to know that you're more than a conqueror. And he that overcometh, and what do you got to do in all of that? Keep his works unto the end. Under whatever circumstances, you still know you got to serve the Lord. That's what Job understood. Job lost everything he had, and he still said, I'm not going to offend God. I'm still going to maintain my integrity. Because he know as much as he was hurting with everything he lost, his children, all his livestock, all his finances, even he lost his health. He know none of that didn't stack up against getting eternal life. It didn't stack up against it, as bad as that was. That's why Jesus said, he that overcomes and keepeth my works until the end, no matter what it is. To him will I give power over the nations. And what else? 27.
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father.
See, and you're going to rule with him on a throne forever, ultimately. So I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name.